Tony Price here for the Gold Star Ride Foundation. Say, listen, when I was a kid, maybe 7, 8 years old, I used to play football in the backyard with my older brothers. They called it football, but I'm pretty sure that was just so they wouldn't get in trouble for beating me up. Anyway, there was this one day, we were playing the game. I get the ball and I go to throw the pass, and an eagle swooped down, grabbed my arm, started carrying me away. Now I screamed and I kicked and I hooted and I hollered. The eagle didn't even get me off the ground, I don't think. But it left a permanent mark in my brain. So now, without anybody else seeing what's going on, every once in a while I'll just go to swat away that eagle. So back in World War II, the guys coming home from the war had a similar experience. Back then they called it shell shock. Guys would just be minding their own business when all of a sudden, they got to swat away at an eagle that nobody can see but them. In the 70s, the same sort of thing took place for the guys coming home from Vietnam. Only with those guys, the rest of us were spitting on them while they were just naming their invisible eagles. Today, the guys are coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan, and while we have much more modern weapons, the guys are still bringing home the same imaginary eagles. Now modern science has decided to name that post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Some people like to simplify it and say he came home from the war, but it's still in his head. There was one young man who came back from the war in Afghanistan after watching a couple of his buddies get turned into meat sauce right in front of him, or right next to him, and he was hospitalized with the condition at a VA hospital. And after a short period of time, the VA hospital turned him loose and said, "There's nothing more we can do for you." Well, some of you guys know where this story is going. And a couple of days later, that guy was dead. Now, Rocky Lynn is the spokesperson for Tribute to the Troops. And I hope I can retell this story correctly when I say that Rocky says it wasn't suicide, it was a Taliban sniper's bullet from 7,000 miles away. Now, personally, for me, I attended my first funeral that was the result of a suicide when I was about 14 years old. My cousin decided he'd lived long enough, and that was that. And it was a very traumatic experience for me, even more than this eagle that keeps swooping down trying to carry me away. And I've been especially aware of suicide ever since, and it's always held a special place for me. And I've always got a telephone that has 2 more minutes on it that I can talk to anybody who thinks now is the time to commit suicide. But this guy who died from the Taliban's bullet from 7,000 miles away, he left 2 parents behind, and a young wife, and 2 young kids. And there's not much I can say to help make sense of any of that stuff, but I can tell them that I understand it, and they don't have to explain it to me. The Gold Star Ride is hoping to visit families of people who died from Taliban snipers' bullets from 7,000 miles away. These families hold an extra special place in our hearts, and we want the rest of you to know about it too. They say teal is the color for post-traumatic stress awareness. Now, I couldn't make that stuff up. I'm not that imaginative. Somebody had to tell me that. So if all you ever do is find a teal-colored stone and somehow figure out a way to fasten it into something that you can wear around your neck, well, that's a big positive step in the right direction. Or maybe you're a jeweler and you've got a whole bunch of teal stones laying around and you're not sure what to do with them, so customize a little pendant and ask me to deliver them to the Gold Star families that we visit, who became Gold Star families because of a sniper's bullet from 7,000 miles away. We'll be happy to do it for you. And I'm sure that they will appreciate your thanks. As you know, the Gold Star family will travel by motorcycle to 49 states over a period of 7.5 weeks, beginning July 3rd in 2017. If you think there's nothing else that you can do to help, just visit goldstarride.org. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do there. Click any link that you want, read anything that you want. All of our information is posted on the website. And a special I feel for you to the Gold Star families of sniper bullets from 7,000 miles away. At the end of the day, we're all in it together. Merry Christmas.